Three key points when you're learning to ride a motorcycle are bro, keep calm and buffer. Ooh, doubling up. That's a nice smell. Ooh, I love it. Come on, dude. Didn't know that guy. Yeah, man, I love that feeling of riding a motorcycle. So good. Hey, how you going? Hope you're good. Three key points when you're learning to ride a motorcycle: where, how, and why. Or in other words, the location, the controls, and improvement. So in the interest of keeping the video short, I'm just going to dive into these briefly as an overview, and then I'll do videos on each one in depth. The great thing to do when you're starting out is a course, like a learner course, pre-learner course, that kind of thing, towards getting your L's over here. In the States, I think it's MSF. They got courses, CBT in the UK, basically anywhere in the world. You know, it's good to do a course, even if you don't have to do a course as part of learning to ride a bike and getting your license and stuff. It's a good idea. They got a lot of knowledge. They got a safe place to learn how to ride, that kind of thing. Again, I could go into that in more detail, and I probably will in another video. So point number one is where, or in other words, your location. So where's a good place when you're learning to ride? So if you're fortunate, you might have a, or unfortunate, you might have a super long driveway, or you might live on a dead-end street. So the advantages to that are that it's nice and quiet. So almost as if I planned it, here is a dead-end street. So dead-end street, as you can see, no through road. So it's nice and quiet. Well, like I said, you might have a super long driveway. Your neighbors are going to know who you are, unlike me. They're going to be looking at me going, who's this guy? Anyway, so yeah, super quiet, dead-end street. It's a good place to practice. So you can come to a stop, you know, first gear, and then you can just practice pulling off nice and slow. You don't have to worry about people being behind you, that kind of thing. You know, it's just a nice, quiet environment to do your thing. The downside is, though, you run out of room. So that means you've got to do a U-turn, which in the beginning is probably going to be one of the trickier things to do. Like here, it's nice and gravelly as well. Pull the clutch in, ease it around, so you can just practice taking off nice and slow, and just keep doing that. You can come to a stop again. Don't have to worry too much about people being around, cars coming up behind you, that kind of thing. Nice and gentle, super slow, just getting used to starting the bike and then bringing it to a stop, off the gas, clutch in, brake, feet down or foot down, bit of gas, letting the clutch out. Now it's biting, we're moving forwards, letting that clutch out, and there we go, up and running. So it's nice and quiet. So this could be your driveway from your mansion or your mountain lodge or your tent in the middle of nowhere, who knows. The downside of a driveway or a dead-end street is that eventually you run out of space and then you got to do a U-turn, which in the beginning is one of the trickier things you're going to have to practice and get good at if you want to get your provisional license. So they're nice and slow. So if that's not going to cut it, where else? A classic one that people talk about a lot is a car park. Nice big car park, the bigger the better. Basically, it means that you don't have to do those U-turns like I was talking about. You can just do nice turns, nice smooth turns. Keep doing your thing. But the problem is getting there. So how are you going to get to a car park? There might not be one near you, so you got to get there first. So maybe you got a buddy and they're like, you know what, I'll take you there, jump on the back. Hey, how are you going? Hope you're good. 3 key points when you're learning to ride a motorcycle: where, how, and why. A classic one that people talk about a lot is a car park. Nice big car park, the bigger the better. Basically, it means that you don't have to do those U-turns like I was talking about. You can just do nice turns, nice smooth turns. The downside of car park is you got to get there, and chances are they're not going to be near your place. So nearest one to here is the airport. I'm fortunate that the airport is close by, so that's somewhere I looked on the map, and it looked like it had some pretty decent sized car parks. So let's go have a look. So your buddy says, yeah, jump on the back, I'll take you to a car park and we can have a practice. Busy. So here we go. So just trying to get to the car park. Imagine this was your first time riding a bike and you got to come to 100 stretch. You think, I need a good spot. So here we go. Here's the military base with the Civi airport attached, civilian airport. So let's go have a look. I have been here before, but to catch a flight, so I was looking for somewhere to park, not really worried about the overall size of the car park. So let's go up a look. So here we go. So we gotta find somewhere quiet. So first thing is, we've got some boom gates. Looks like some parking wardens. Maybe. Short stay. This sucks. That one looks pretty busy as well, so imagine if you were trying to just find somewhere to ride the bike for the first time. this would be pretty hard going. Gotta figure out where to go, not get hit, not hit anyone, not fall over. Bro, this sucks. I think I'm gonna call this a bust. Well, it forces you to practice your slow speed maneuvers, which is great. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be negotiating this right at the start when I was just trying to figure out where to ride. But maybe you know somewhere nearby where you live, I don't know, community center or church or something like that. It's maybe a bit quieter. Let's have a look around here. Where's this dude going? Obviously, bad time of day because it's busy, but it's an airport, so I'm pretty sure it'd be kind of busy during the night as well, because people are leaving their cars and then going off, so abroad to nice places or whatever. Just try not to mow this person over. Okay, so there's no boom gate on that one. It's super busy. What have we got here? Boom gates. We could sneak through there maybe on a quiet evening. Long stay. Nice. Ooh, look at this road. This looks like dog's breakfast. That would be good if it wasn't full of gravel. Oh well, let's see what's down here. Okay, so we're calling the airport a bust, but you might have better luck where you are. You might have a nice quiet car park with loads of space. It doesn't have to be huge, just somewhere where you don't have to keep doing U-turns all the time. You can just cruise around. There's plenty of videos online set in big car parks. So you've got lots of space, and you don't have people around that you have to worry about, people coming up the back of you, that kind of thing. So yeah, let's head off to my preferred location, which is local streets or a housing estate, that kind of thing. So yeah, local streets are always good. Even better as a housing estate. And the reason for that is, the reason why I like them is because you get a real world environment. So you do have cars around, you know, dogs running out, kids playing, that kind of stuff. So it does feel a bit more like a real world environment. So that's going to push your skills. It's not going to be as full on as just riding in open traffic. Normally, as long as you avoid kind of everyone heading to work in the morning and coming home in the evening, it'll be nice and quiet. So we'll head there now and I'll show you what I mean. Hey, how are you going? Hope you're good. 3 key points when you're learning to ride a motorcycle: where, how, and why. So obviously around here it's nice and quiet, so you could consider this a back street. You know, you can zip up and down here if you want. There's a roundabout at one end, and then at the other end there's a fairly large area that you can do a U-turn. Still kind of got that problem that effectively it is a U-turn. Obviously you can't escape U-turns forever, you got to do them. It's part of getting your provisional license over here. Is part of the test is you've got to smash out a U-turn, show them that you can do that. But even getting from A to B, like just getting to a nice quiet housing estate or some local streets, still gonna have to do a little bit of riding, so I guess you're gonna start out in your immediate area to begin with, unless that buddy of yours is prepared to take you down there or whatever, or you can drive and meet them there. So why do I like housing estates or residential streets? They're just nice and quiet. Actually, I think it was the day I was doing my test, I was going to the place to do the test, and I saw a guy on L plates at a set of lights just ahead of me, and he looked very fresh, and he actually stalled the bike at the lights and he couldn't get it going again, so he had to push it off onto the pavement, onto the sidewalk, to get it going again. So that's the thing, that was in moderate traffic. Whereas if you come somewhere like this, it's just super quiet. I mean, even at the moment it's kind of holidays, so there's more people around in the day than there would be normally, but it just means you can cruise around. It's nice and quiet, but you've also got a bit of real world experience. It's kind of like a mini setup, because you've got roundabouts, giveaways, that kind of thing, so it's good to practice. And this is actually the very place that I came wobbling around on this very bike back when I got my L's. I actually asked a friend of mine if they'd ride it back from the dealer, so I wasn't confident. It's my first time riding across town to somewhere quiet. So yeah, this was where I wobbled around for quite a while, just over and over. But yeah, reason why I like quiet places like this is you don't have too much traffic, too many people, but there are a few things that you do have to think about. But it's just like, if you want to pull over and stop, you can. No one's really going to care. Everyone's either at work, studying, or whatever, or just having a beer in the pool. You could just practice nice and slow. Just practice, practice, practice. Stop, start, stop, start. You could even put your indicator on, or your hazards, or whatever you really wanted to. But there's plenty of room. You just keep going and going and going. And normally you can just zigzag through the different streets. Bit of a lattice or a grid layout. So you can just keep cruising around and avoid anywhere. Actually, I'm going to go up here. So I could have taken a right down there and just kept cruising. But early on, it would be things like this that caught me out. So be, Struth, what do I do now? And I'd have to think, okay, what am I doing? Going down to first gear, clutch in, coming to a stop. This is a bit of a mongrel because you can't really see around the trees, but it's clear both ways. And the number of times I stalled here was funny, or not funny at the time. But it was good practice, because stalling's all part of it. You're gonna stall, it's just the way it is. Chances are you're gonna stall, but then once you're up and running, you can just cruise around. Most you're really gonna have is like a 90-degree turn. You can practice, signaling or not signaling. It's kind of up to you. Super quiet. I mean, it's good to try and remember to signal, but it just means you can just keep practicing. Down into first, coming to a stop, head checks. It's always good to get those head checks in mind for your test. And then just super slow, we're just cruising around, nice and chilled. Just keep doing your thing, coming to a stop. Just keep going, and we don't have to worry about the dreaded U-turn. But when you do want to do it, you can find somewhere nice and quiet to practice it. But you can just putt around when you start feeling a bit confident. You can go through the gears, Just everything nice and slow. It doesn't matter if it's clunky or jerky. You're just starting out, you're just learning, so it's just practice. Hey, how you going? Hope you're good. 3 key points when you're learning to ride a motorcycle: where, how, and why. The location is super important. So like I said, the reason why I like these housing estates is, especially when they're newer ones, the surface is nice and smooth, easy turns, not many people around, people just chilling, doing their thing. You do have real world stuff, so you've got, you know, driveways, side roads like this where you've got to keep an eye out for stuff, cars parked, dogs, kids, you name it, but it's just nice and quiet, and pretty much no one cares what you're doing. You can just do your thing. The worst that's going to happen is someone's going to give you a wave or ask what you're doing or how you're going, and just say, hey man, I'm just practicing. Oh yeah, I remember when I was practicing. Everything just nice and soft and smooth on everything. We'll go into more detail in another video of what I'm actually doing with the controls, but at the moment we're just focusing on trying to find a good location to practice. But everything's just nice and smooth. Right hand's just smooth on the accelerator, on the throttle, and then left hand is just super smooth on the clutch. Just everything nice and slow, nice and smooth. I'm checking my mirrors, keeping an eye on my surroundings. But you don't have to worry about the U-turn, you can just sweep around, look where you're going. And if you want to, up into second. We'll cover that in another video. So doing a turn in second. Again, everything nice and slow. You know, if you want to stay in first, you can. If you want to practice going up into second, you can. Just checking for driveways and side roads and that kind of stuff. We're just cruising around, looking for somewhere just to stop. Down into first. Nice and smooth on the brakes. Nice and soft. Clutch in, foot down, and a little bit of gas. Hold that gas, let your clutch out, find that biting point. I'm pushing with my foot just so I keep my balance. Nice and slow. Everything's super slow. Still letting the clutch out. There we go, we can just putt around. And just keeping it slow. Just going to get past the side road just so if someone does come flying around behind me, there's a little bit of room for them to see me. I am trying to be as visible as possible, wearing a bright white top with stripes and a bright orange bike, but you never know. But yeah, a bit of gas, bit of throttle, letting the clutch out nice and slow. Got that biting point, still letting it out slow, still letting it out slow. There we go. But like I say, I'll go into the controls more in detail in another video. I stayed in this very estate just practicing for months really, because I didn't have much time with work and other commitments. So I just kept cruising these streets, just cruising around, starting, stopping, going through the gears, stalling, starting the bike again, that kind of thing. I was like, you know what, that's fine. I'm just going to keep cruising around the estate. You know, just practicing roundabouts, going slow, checking my mirrors, checking I've turned the indicator off, going up through the gears. There was a little bit of jeopardy in this estate in that it's off a 100 stretch, so I had to be careful not to head out. So when I got to this roundabout, I was like, okay, yeah, I can head up there and straight across over to the quiet streets over at the Cove, but I'd have to if I wanted to keep the session going, I'd hang a left or a right. It's always easier hanging a left on a roundabout. So in the beginning I'd just do that. Just keep cruising around. Some days I'd practice starting and stopping. Other days, if it was pretty warm like it is today, it'd be nice to get a bit of airflow. Up to third, you know, just running up and down through the gears. But it's nice and quiet. There's really no one around. And even if there is, no one cares. So you can just cruise around nice and slow, making mistakes in a forgiving environment, and then getting better. And thinking, okay, what next? I should probably practice some U-turns, that kind of thing. Practice stopping. You know, I'd just find something like a shadow on the ground like this. I'd probably be in first, make it easy for myself. So I'd find a shadow on the ground. I'm like, oh, okay, I got to stop in that shadow. There we go. A bit freaky at first. And here we go. Here's a car coming. So there are cars every now and then. So just check my mirrors. So I can do that thing. Give them the nod. Then on the gas, a little bit of clutch, and away we go. But yeah, it was just about as safe as environment as I could find to just practice. You know, most people are cool. These guys just stepping out of the way. You know, and you just learn the place. You just somewhere you're familiar with, where you can just practice. Somewhere, you know, you get to know the streets. That's why your local area is always good. Just know where you are. You don't have to worry about getting lost or whatever. And people may even know you, so they're going to cut you some slack, that kind of thing. This estate's pretty open, so you can see all the turns pretty clear. But yeah, we're just going around in circles, really. Hey, how you going? Hope you're good. 3 key points when you're learning to ride a motorcycle: where, how, and why. This estate's pretty open, so you can see all the turns pretty clear. But yeah, we're just going around in circles, really. And this is cool because it's got the central road through the middle, which I think is 50 in the main bit of the estate, but then all the side streets are just super quiet. So there you go. I had to slow down a bit, down at first. So there are things you do have to think about, but if you stay, well, I used to stay away from this central road as often as I could, for as long as I could. And then when I wanted to up my skills, I just find something that I had to go deal with. But I don't know, I just think housing estates are cool environments to learn to ride a bike, learn to ride a motorcycle, because it's got elements of what you're going to be dealing with out on the roads. It's just a bit more forgiving, and you just don't have that traffic, because the traffic, that's what'll get you. You get flustered. You got to think about what you're doing, because when you're starting out, you know, even just remembering about your indicator, to use the indicator, remember which way you're going. Okay, I'm going right, I'm going left, whatever it is. And then you got to remember to turn it off. You got to think about the gears. Try not to, you know, target, fixate, that kind of thing. So there's a lot to learn. And as you're cruising around, you'll find little areas like this. Okay, this looks pretty quiet. It's right on the edge of the estate by the bush. And you think, okay, this is a good spot for practicing U-turns. Okay, look at this. This looks nice. Yeah, this looks pretty good. And this was the exact spot where I just spent hours practicing U-turns and doing figure eights and that kind of thing. And then when I had enough for doing that, or I wanted to get some fresh air, a bit of breeze, I just head off, do a bit of riding around the estate, have a break from doing those U-turns, just putting around, just getting used to the bike, time on the bike, getting used to how it feels. But I do enjoy riding the bike, and I definitely enjoyed learning. It was stressful at times, highs and lows. It's funny coming up to this street here, because I had some sessions here doing U-turns and that, where I just couldn't get it. I just sucked. And I leave feeling demoralised, but I come back another day. But yeah, try and bust one out now. So, can't even remember how to do it. So it's like first, I'd be just putting around, you know. I'd be like, okay, I'm in first gear. How do I do a U-turn? I found my little bit that's nice and wide, and then I'm just going to try and bust a U-turn, fast idle, that kind of stuff. Look where I'm going. Ooh, there we go. And head off. Just that over and over and over. I started with those end parts because there was just a bit more room. But yeah, just hours and hours doing U-turns. And yeah, some days I just feel demoralised because if you're trying to do your thing, you know, what I'd probably recommend is not having mirrors on the underside, because couldn't quite get a decent turn there, but managed to do it nonetheless. So yeah, I suck. Need to get back here and do some more practice. Probably have to think about the mirrors for that. But anyway, so yeah, if I got too hot or whatever, I'll just go for a ride, get some fresh air, mix it up, that kind of thing. But yeah, hope you're finding these videos interesting, helpful. Hopefully they're getting you to think about stuff, have a conversation in your mind or with someone else, make some good decisions. It's just good to get out, a bike, a board, a walk, a run, a coffee, a beer, whatever it is. I always feel better for going to do something if I can. And also, so at the start I said you've got the, so at the start I said you had the, didn't know that guy, doing a time sync. Anyway, whew, it's hot. Got a bit of air on us, cool us down some. How you going?
Good, mate. It's gonna be hot, hot, fucking hot.
Get the kill switch up. Kill switch up, it's a good one. Still letting it out slow. 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 Still letting it out slow.